your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Alongside Jamie Lent, I'm Chois Woodman in for Chuck Heinz again today. Jeff McGuire back behind the glass handling us. Keep your thoughts, your comments, your questions coming in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Jeff will have this day in sports history coming up in 15 minutes or so. Well, Jeff, you had a celebratory night last night, right? You popped open the champagne and no.
I mean, I didn't not. I wasn't upset that they won last night, but I was not awake when they won last night.
That's fair. So if you don't,
I wasn't necessarily awake when the Astros won last night.
You don't know what we were talking about. The White
streak
Sox
is over.
Broke the 21-game losing streak. I was hoping it was going to happen today, after Jeff revealed to us yesterday that Davis Martin was supposed to pitch today. Mm-hmm. So I was hoping he would be the stopper there. But
kind of like
so Kent Hance could put out another tweet and be like,
when the
Chicago White Sox needed to end a 21-game losing 22-game losing streak. They went to a Red Raider.
Who did they call?
They called a Red Raider.
Not some guy from the University of Texas.
Let's forget that this would be the second time that they called upon him to end the losing streak. But hey, he was the one, in fact, that would have ended it.
He has a start so far.
Yeah, he's 0-1. So far in the year. He started Friday, I think.
Just glad he's back.
What's his last?
Okay, that makes sense. I know his first appearance was in relief.
Yeah. But kind of like, I don't want necessarily A&M to come here in a baseball regional or a super regional for the thought of them dogpiling on our field. Because it's 2 games, anything can happen in baseball kind of thing.
Yeah.
My stomach just turned.
Yeah. I don't know that I wanted Davis to be the one on the mound to stop the streak, just in case it wasn't. It would hurt more than it would be awesome that he did stop the streak, as opposed to being the one that set the streak.
Because he would have been, like the streak would have happened while he's on the mound today, right?
They would have tied. He would have, being the starting pitcher, you would imagine that he would have gotten the loss in the game that tied the Major League Baseball.
White Sox run support, yes.
So I'm glad the streak is over.
We need a little upon further review here on my my lies. I told people the wrong thing. The women's golf actually starts today night, not tomorrow. So,
okay.
So Shannon Tan will be on the course today for the Olympics. Speaking of Jamie's storylines, did you see the other record that's up for grabs in the Olympics? Not up for grabs. That's the wrong way to put it. What's going on, I should say. Women's basketball.
Yeah, he's not lost in forever.
58-game winning streak.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
It is pretty wild. Mm-hmm. Is Gino Ariyama coaching? Just kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like it. But that is still the sport.
They're not in danger of losing that, right? The streak?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think anybody's going to challenge them.
I don't think anybody's going to challenge them. So I don't know. They lost. Do you not count it because they lost to Team WNBA before the Olympics? Is that? I guess that was an exhibition, so it doesn't get to count.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
I did like that when that happened.
I think a lot of people did.
Caitlin Clark and got a little vengeance. Other weird news in the world today.
All right.
FIU sold their naming rights yesterday.
To Mr. Bull.
To Mr. Bull. Not Mr. Dog, but Mr. Bull. Mm-hmm. Mr. Worldwide, I think, is actually what he goes by. Did you know that?
I think his name is Bull, Pitt.
Federico, Federico.
Exactly.
Oh, man. So Florida International, a team that was here in Lubbock last year, has sold their naming rights to Pitbull. Not a dog. Is he a rapper? Do we call him a rapper? Pop singer? Whatever he is. There's rapping that goes on.
I call him a rapper.
Hip-hop?
I don't call him.
You don't call him.
I do not call him.
Jamie didn't call anybody.
I do not have Mr. Bull's number in
Pitbull's
my phone.
going to pay $1.2 million per year for 5 years. But I still haven't... Oh, yeah, it will be Pitbull Stadium. That's the name. Okay.
Catchy.
I kind of like it.
Do you?
Did you see the whole list of stuff that FIU is getting for this, too?
I don't.
Like, Pitbull's getting a suite, and he's getting something. But he's writing a theme for FIU. Their halftime performances are going to be Pitbull-related artists, so anybody on his record label.
Okay.
They're getting the $7 million over 6 years.
Where does the band go? Do they not get a band that gets to perform?
They'll figure that out.
Okay.
I mean, but they're getting all of this stuff and the money, and Pitbull is just basically, he can use the stadium like 4 times a year.
Okay.
Like, this is a super sweet deal.
He can use the stadium like for concerts?
For whatever he, like a video shoot or a concert
it's in Miami,
or whatever.
So it's probably a good spot.
He doesn't have to pay the concert charge for using the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Like, this is a super sleek deal for FIU. They're getting all the benefit in this.
Imagine at Thanksgiving time you can get all the family together for a game of, flag football in
You get the stadium 4 times. That would actually be pretty fun.
As long as they're not using it for the game. I don't know if they've got a game on Thanksgiving or not.
Pitbull says, for me, what it boils down to is Miami is always known for being underdogs no matter what we do and what level we take it to. That's a bad Pitbull. Sorry. Being underdogs is what I always felt about FIU. Fighting, clawing their way just to be seen, to be recognized, whether it be education, business, or through sports. There you go.
All right.
So Mr. Bull, as Jamie calls him.
Mr. Bull.
owns
Sounds
the
like
naming
he's full of
rights.
it.
Okay. All right. Y'all bring in the your thoughts on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll get to a few of those. And this day in sports history, Jeff has it next on Double T 97.3.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Alongside Jamie Lent, I'm Chois Woodman. You're listening to the Morning Drive on Double T 97.3. It is the time to kick it over to Jeff as he's got this day in sports history.
I'm going to start in 1907 because Walter Johnson from the Senators gets his first win of his 416 career wins in a 7-2 victory over Cleveland.
That's a lot of wins.
1929, Yankee slugger Babe Ruth ties Major League Baseball record by hitting grand slams in consecutive games for the second time in a 13-1 win over the Philadelphia Athletics. 1948, American swimmer Jimmy McLean wins the 1,500 meter for his second gold medal at the London Games. The other one was the 4x200 meter freestyle relay. This marked a U.S. clean sweep of every men's swimming gold medal at the Games.
Wow.
Nice.
That's a lot. Oh, my gosh. What year?
48.
48. Wow.
1956, Boston Red Sox fine slugger Ted Williams $5,000 for spitting at a heckling Boston fan. It's the third incident in 3 weeks.
I was about to say, didn't we do this last week?
He just
and again,
keep his spit to himself.
God.
Boston fans.
Whoa.
1984, the U.S. collects its first Olympic gold medal in women's basketball history with an 85-55 win over South Korea in the final at the L.A. Games. 1992, Orlando Magic signed their number 1 pick from the draft.
Shaquille O'Neal.
That is correct. And then he opened up a chicken restaurant.
Ooh.
Shaq Diesel.
Have you guys been to the chicken restaurant yet?
No, they had like a
They did a
soft
preview
opening
thing,
for
yeah.
the media people. I know a couple people here went and liked it.
Did Clint go? I gave him my pass.
Clint went. Gus went. Gus took kid. Clint took wife.
Good.
Collier went
Good.
with kids. So yeah, I think
Good.
all good reviews from what I heard. But I won't go for like what's the
I don't
rate
know what
around
it
here?
actually is.
2 or 3 months until people
I don't think it's that long, is it?
where people like bombard a place because it's new.
You're talking about the relaxing.
I'm talking about
let it
where
relax.
You don't have to wait
about a
30
month and a
minutes
half.
in a line.
6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
2012, former Red Raider Jeff Karstens, Karstens. Karstens, there we go. Gets a no decision after pitching 6 innings of 3-run ball in a 10-4 Pirates loss to the Diamondbacks. And in 2016, Miami Marlins veteran Japanese outfielder Ichiro Suzuki becomes the 30th member of the 3,000 hit club with a 10-7 win over the Rockies. He was pretty good at hitting baseballs.
Man, there's
Probably still is.
There's too many people within the Rangers division that I liked. Like, that I enjoy watching within the division. And Ichiro was high on that list. Mike Trout's been high on that list. There's too many that I'm like, man, he's fun to watch. But
Ohtani's
definitely up there. Who was that pitcher that had a funky...
Felix Hernandez?
No, I did like Felix Hernandez, too.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Tim going back and forth with Beltray.
was
That's
talking-
what made that fun.
Yes, that was a lot of fun. No, it was an angel. I cannot think of his name. Anyway, go on.
CJ Wilson.
Not that angel. I could have done without him.
Hey, I try to help. Happy National Raspberries and Cream Day. So like peaches and cream, but you replace the peaches with raspberry. I think Choice is out on that concept.
No, someone just hit their tailbone really hard and then punted his helmet. Literally.
He did.
Punted his helmet for...
Yeah.
Raspberries, I don't know. I'll take the peaches and cream.
I'll take raspberries.
I mean, I'm sure I'd like it.
Happy birthday to Sidney Crosby is 37. Jalen Hurts,
Wow.
26. Charlize Theron is 49. Mike Trout, oddly enough, 33 today. DeMar DeRozan, 35. And Kyler Murray is 27.
Okay.
And on this day, 1964, the United States Congress overwhelmingly approves the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, giving President Lyndon B. Johnson nearly unlimited power to oppose, quote, communist aggression in Southeast Asia. The resolution marked the beginning of an expanded military role for the United States in the Cold War battlefields of Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. And that is this day in sports history.
So you said Sidney Crosby. When you have a nickname, The Kid, when does that go away?
Sid the Kid.
He's 30. He's 37.
Ask Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 37. So when I'm curious when that moniker is like, he's no longer the kid,
Well,
because he was the kid. Griffey was the kid. There's another one. Great, fun to watch in there.
oh, man, yes.
I mean,
That's-
Seattle's had some likable guys. Beltray was a Mariner for a long while. Man, it you feel like. Is there anybody with the Red Sox you really liked watching?
Dustin Pedroia.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and
That
I'm
one
Big
fits.
Poppy.
I mean,
Oh.
because you're supposed to hate these guys, but in baseball, it doesn't feel like there's always the hatred for the player as much. There is,
Well, just enjoy the way that they play the game or
Right.
the personality.
but there's been a lot with Seattle, quite a few with the Angels. The A's never pay anybody to have a real player, like a superstar. It's kind of hard to remember any of those guys.
I mean, I know he eventually played for the White Sox, but it was hard to cheer against Jim Thome when he was with the Indians as a White Sox fan
Sure.
because all reports indicated that he was a good guy, good teammate, fun to be around.
Kept the steroid dealers pockets
sure.
line.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
Well, it was, this is the 90s. Everybody was. They were all very well taken care of. But it wasn't, I didn't like what he did against my team.
Yeah.
But it was hard to root against him as an individual.
Right.
How's Jim Thome in the Hall of Fame and Barry Bonds not?
It's dumb.
It is
Same
so
conversation we went through
stupid.
yesterday. Yeah, it's so dumb that some guys
Because nobody
are
thinks Jim Thome was using.
No, who would ever think that, Jamie? This from the chat. Can't forget Griffey. And then maybe my favorite of all these guys that played against my team, Vladimir Guerrero, that crushed the Rangers, killed them every time,
and crushed everybody else too.
Yeah.
Like that. That was a common thing.
I noticed you didn't pick any Yankees that you mentioned.
I was going within the division.
Okay.
Yankee. Okay. Bernie Williams.
Okay.
Don Mattingly.
I did like Bernie.
Don Mattingly. I mean, the core. The
Roger
core four.
Just kidding.
Andy Pettit. I like cheering for Andy Pettit.
I did. Mike Messina when he was with the Yankees. I liked him. Y'all don't like Moose?
There just reports were that he's a terrible teammate. They didn't get along in the clubhouse with anybody.
He's a Baltimore Oriole.
What would
Yeah.
Sure he is.
Yeah.
He's not a Yankee.
But what would the reports be on Jamie, his clubhouse demeanor?
It would depend on who you ask.
Like,
Because here's the thing. Some people would say that I don't think I've ever heard Jamie say more than 4 words. Mm-hmm. And some people would say, Jamie's a great guy. He loves talking about his kids and everything. We'll spend hours talking about what's going on in the families.
That's probably a knock.
That's not a knock. It depends on who you ask in this building.
So, and others would say, Jamie's just a business guy. We don't really ever see him talk. He likes to go off to his locker and close his door at his locker.
That's right.
He just goes and hides in his locker at times.
That's what he does.
So he can get some work done. Mm-hmm. He's always in the batting cages by himself.
Specifically by himself.
As if, he needed a pitcher. Nope. I'll use the machine.
Yep.
Bring your thoughts in. Comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Talk some tech football in hour number 2. It's the Morning Drive on Double T 97.3.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Alongside Jamie Lent, I'm Chois Woodman. Jeff McGuire taking care of us this morning. Y'all keep your thoughts coming in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll return to some of that moment. This is like a new sport for Jamie and I, just figuring out the rules of these Olympic sports as we run along. Mm-hmm. Trying to do it without the commentary on the TV.
I don't think it's the rules you're trying to figure out. I think it's the strategy.
Is it strategy or is it rules? Because they keep, pushing someone back towards the back. Now they just dropped someone off completely, it looked like.
Okay, so
we're watching the indoor cycling thing again this morning. So
right, and what you're seeing is the person who's in the lead is starting the slipstream for everybody else behind him, which they're using more energy and they're having to push harder to get through it than everybody else is. But to keep the team speed up after so many laps or whatever that they figured out, they slide up the track and then jump back in for the 4th place spot because it's the easiest one to get into. So they're now in the slipstream, and then whoever was second, who's been in the slipstream the longest, is now starting it until they get tired, and you keep that going to keep everybody's speed up and everybody's energy level up.
But now we're down to 3
That's
riders.
strategy, not rules.
We started with 4, now we're down to 3.
Is it 3 or is it just they haven't gotten back in line?
No, there's definitely 3. So now we're down to 2, and they're going side by side. So
it's finished. We won.
Oh, it's over. We won. Take that, Great Britain. Remember the Revolutionary War.
And the War of 1812.
What do they call the Revolutionary War across the pond? Non-existent? Do they even acknowledge it happened?
Yeah.
What do they call it? Because it wasn't a revolution for them.
No, well, we were the rebels.
I'm curious.
Bad day?
Bad lots of days?
Yeah, bad days.
And you got to remember, though, that
General Cornwallis sucks.
While we were the first, we were not the last. There were a lot of countries that broke off of Great Britain.
Sure.
We kind of started that chain of events.
So, y'all keep the comments rolling on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We haven't read many today. So, someone says, I think the ringing the bell is really cool I think that's just track where they ring the bell.
Yeah,
they win the race. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Texas paid $2.5 million for Pitbull and a party for him for joining the SEC in June. Apparently, he came to a SEC party for UT.
$2.5 million. Well, I mean, that paid for like half of his
a couple of years
naming rights
worth of naming rights at FIU. So Texas is basically paying FIU.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Can't forget Griffey on that list. Yeah. I mentioned him late.
Completely agree.
I never heard any accusation that Tomey used steroids. What did you hear?
Jose Canseco talk about steroid use in the 90s. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I think you can just look at body transformation for a lot of guys. There's guys that were clearly targeted with the what was his name? The guy with the report. Mitchell report.
Mitchell.
Yeah, the Mitchell report. There were guys that were obviously targeted with that stuff, and then other guys that were not. Well,
again,
it doesn't mean that the ones that weren't using.
Mitchell owned stock and stake in one professional franchise, right?
Yeah, Red Sox, right?
Yeah. And how many Red Sox guys were on the list?
I think 0.
0.
So there you go.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was as tainted as, and there were names leaked on purpose, of course, and others not. And that's what is the frustrating part. I don't. Anything that came out of it is not that I disagree or don't think it was true.
Sure.
It was that you put some of it out there and not all of it. And again, that was the bias from it coming from Mr. Mitchell, who was, a partial owner of the Red Sox.
Yeah. Good morning, guys from Nashville, Tennessee. About time you talk about my Yankees. You guys need to stop talking about the White Sox and Astros and talk more Yankees. Have a great day. That's from Pepsi Man.
Well, maybe if they won more.
Yeah. Dude.
He said you're talking about the White Sox and winning more? What?
No, we talk about them just because they're so bad. I always liked Randy Johnson and Heathcliff Slocum. Okay.
That's a name from the past.
That is real.
Yeah.
Jamie, did you ever get
Randy's
Beckett?
Another likable guy, though.
Did you ever get Beckett magazine when you were collecting cards?
Oh, of course.
Remember at the back of the magazine, they used to do like the card destruction / decorating thing. And it would be like they take a name of somebody and change it and change the picture for something.
Okay.
Like Mookie Betts would become Cookie Betts or whatever it was, right? Heathcliff Slocum was one of my favorites because they would change it to the cartoon Heathcliff.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was a constant thing for all of his different cards that someone would send in. I always wanted to do one, but I never wanted to ruin one of my own cards.
Yeah, I know. I could never do that. Dylan says, I'm excited to see what this team will do, but I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid, LOL. It's okay to drink. Everybody likes Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
So, until it turns sour.
Just don't spike the Kool-Aid.
Why not?
Right now, you can drink Kool-Aid. Don't spike it. It's a long season, and we've got to figure some things out.
Sometimes you need to spike it when things aren't going as well. Jamie, did you know today, August 7th, there's something special about it?
I mean, we went through a whole list earlier. I can go back through it if you need me to.
Not good special, bad special.
You and I get to hang out together?
And it is a good thing Chuck was not on the road this morning. Wait, why did you said that was bad special? That we get to hang out together?
No.
You said it right after I said it wasn't good special.
No, okay, well.
Wait, like, are we hanging after the show? Are we getting a...
No, right now we're hanging.
You go slap the fuzz?
We're hanging. No, you don't want to do that.
I would slap the fuzz with you. Jamie, make sure you're checking those mirrors and watch out for the other guy today. He's an idiot. Today is supposedly the most dangerous day of the year to drive.
Why?
A dash cam company called Nextbase crunched the numbers and found August 7th is the deadliest day on American roadways.
Why?
They did not explain the why.
Probably purely coincidental.
Well, it's a random Wednesday in August, but just based on data from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
But it's not always a Wednesday.
No,
It's just a random
this is
day.
today. Yeah. So No one knows why, but just
is it the Wednesday or is it the date?
No, it's the date. It's August 7th.
Okay, so
in history of the traffic information they have, this is the deadliest day. Not necessarily most wrecks, but the one most deaths on the road.
If you were picking a day of the week, surely the answer there would be Saturday.
Yeah,
sure,
it's got to be on a Saturday. But be careful out there. August 7th, the deadliest day. So good thing Chuck is not on the road this morning.
If pure speculation, and I have no idea if any of this would actually be involved in any of this. Beginning of August, you're starting to get ready for school year. High schools are starting. So you've got new drivers going new routes. You've got your routine is starting to change. So you're not paying as much of attention as you should to that. It's hot. So you've got sticky road. You've got cold tires, hot roads that you would think would cause less accidents because you're getting more grip that way. But the person in front of you could be stopping when you're not paying attention. Mm-hmm. The thinking about something else right now that you have to do for next month, whether it be school or kid or football or whatever else related, that you're distracted, and all of that factoring in together. And then after the accident happens, you've got the weather you're dealing with that you're exposed to now that you are not necessarily prepared for. I don't know why today over tomorrow, because I imagine that a lot of those factors would still be the same. But that's just speculation.
Dylan responds, as I'm driving to Amarillo for work today. Thanks for the new stress now. You're welcome. Not stress, just awareness. That's all. Just want to make everybody aware. Watch out for the idiot on the road. If you don't know who it is, it might be you.
Might be.
Might be. It's the morning drive. Got a question of the day on the way on Double T 97.3.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3, presented today by someone not named Jamie, is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Okay, Choice is going to ask our question of the day today.
I am.
Or Jeff is. Choice is. Okay, but here's my question. Is this the dumbest sport ever? Okay, so this is the individual cycling, indoor cycling, where at the beginning they go as slow as possible because you don't want to be in the lead. And so they're basically trying not to go forward.
Yeah.
I mean, it is...
It's weird because the draft thing that Jeff was talking about, and you're trying to... You can catch some more speed to try to get around someone. It's... Yeah, I don't understand it necessarily. I don't get it. Also, why is he wearing his numbers on his butt? You have a cycling number. Now they're slowing down again. I think
it's over.
Oh, okay. They were holding hands for a second, so
yes,
I was...
Yes, it was over.
It's a sprint. I'm with you. I don't quite understand the sport.
Like they get to the very top and they go as slow as possible, and they're trying to force the other one to go first.
So it's
I get it to the drafting thing, but
timed. It's just so weird. It's very
weird.
I don't think we're made to understand it though. It's strange. Okay. My question of the day has to do with Texas Tech football, as a lot of them this time of year do. Jamie, I saw a list from, I'm sure you've seen him on Twitter a time or two, this big game boomer guy. He makes lists a lot of times to, get a reaction, which is what a lot of people do on Twitter. But his list was every team, I can't remember if it was Power 5 or every college football team, either way, every team in college football and their liability. What is, and I think it was all position group based, but their liability.
Their liability?
Yes. He had Texas Tech's liability as the wide receivers. Now, we've sat and talked about the excitement, all sorts of things regarding that, but about the wide receiver room. So my question to you will expand off of that. What is Texas Tech's liability to you going into the season, and what is Texas Tech's biggest strength? And I guess you can answer it position group or otherwise.
Biggest strength, I think, is your run game.
Okay.
I think. And I say I think because you were good at it last year, but you have a different offensive line. We'd like to think this offensive line is going to be better. We don't know, but I think it's your run game.
I mean, it was last year.
I mean, you have one of the best running backs in college football. Yeah, it feels like you'll be really good at running the football again. So I'm going to say that's your strength. Your liability. Ability to put pressure on the quarterback.
Okay.
Getting after a quarterback.
I think that's a great answer.
Yeah.
Going into the season, do you have the ability to get pressure on the quarterback? I think there's, like receiver, there's some serious potential there, but there's more proven commodities in the receiver room than there is in your pass rushing situation. Like, you've got some young guys that are supposed to be able to get after the quarterback, but as far as total number of sacks you have returning to this team, there's not very many.
Right.
So I think that's a really good answer.
Much like Jamie, I'm looking square in the backfield for your strength, and that being Taj Brooks. I don't know that the offensive line has as much of a factor in his effectiveness because, as we saw, he led the league, led all of the world in broken tackles. And you don't have that when you're not getting touched after 30 yards kind of thing. He was breaking tackles at the line of scrimmage to get his yardage last year. So even if the offensive line isn't improved in the run game necessarily, they can be a better unit, but not better than what they were last year. I still think that Taj is going to have success. Your liability, only because they haven't been tested yet, I would look at your defensive backs as a group, because you lost so much leadership there and so many snaps last year that graduated out. And the Big 12 is still going to throw the football around. You're going to be facing a lot of teams that are going to try to put up 50 points a game. Now, that's not a realistic expectations in every game situation, but until they get put to the fire a little bit, that's where my biggest concern is. And it kind of goes with getting to the quarterback, because if you can sack the quarterback, the ball's not in the air. But you also need to cover those guys long enough to give your defensive ends and linebackers who are rushing a chance to get to the quarterback.
Okay. I think I'd start with Texas Tech's strength, just to be a little different from you guys, because I think Taj Brooks is your best player on the team, and there's not much question there. But I think the strength of this team is your linebacking core. Interior linebacker, we'll say. Because you've got two of your best maybe 5 or 6 players playing interior linebacker for you.
That's fair.
So I think that's going to be a big strength of this team. And if you ask almost any defensive coach if you want to be best at a certain spot, they'd probably tell you pass rush first, maybe, and depending what league you play in. But linebacker might be, that's usually where your quarterbacks of the defense are. So that's a good spot to be anchored down. I think liability, like you guys are going, is probably I got to go with the one that you haven't been good at in a while. I got to see it to believe it. It's offensive line. Until it's there, I'm going to lean on that being the line of liability. I hope I am completely wrong on that in the season, and that's a strength for you. Y'all can chime in. Tell us what you think Tech's liabilities, their strengths are going into the season. We'll get to some headlines for you next. The Boom 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 on the way on Double T 97.3.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
With Jamie Lent, I'm Chois Woodman. You're listening to The Morning Drive or watching Double T 97.3, Fox 34 News now. Keep your thoughts coming in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. A couple of comments and questions there regarding Tech football. We'll get back to those momentarily. But first, Joffrey has a question for the group.
Yeah, and this is kind of inspired by Jamie's question of the day from, it was either before I went on vacation or maybe on Monday.
Okay.
By picking one of these three things, it doesn't necessarily mean the other things can't happen. But you get to lock in one of these three things. Are you going to choose to lock in 7-0 at home? Are you going to choose to have 2 road victories this year? Not specific road victories, but you have 2 wins on the road this year.
Are you limited to 2 or at least 2?
You could win all of the ones on the road, but you're locking in that you will win 2.
At least 2, okay.
Yes. Or are you going to say that you're going to start the season for the first time in the Joey Maguire era at 3-0? So perfect in the non-conference.
Oh, man.
I'm not saying if you pick 7-0 that you can't also be perfect in the non-conference. Like that, it's not a monkey paw thing. But you can only lock one of these in. Which one are you picking?
I think this is a good question
not a
because
monkey paw thing.
Do you not know the monkey paw trade? Like your team will win every game this year, whichever team you pick. But in order to do so, you have to drown a puppy in front of a birthday party full of kids.
Where does the monkey's paw come into it?
That's the trade. It's you get exactly what you would want and be extremely happy, but you got to do something terrible to get it. That's not what this is. That's the monkey paw trade.
Okay.
Okay,
So you have to chop a monkey's hand off?
I get this, but what does it have to do with a monkey paw? Why is it named the monkey paw?
That's an Aaron Dickens thing. You'd have to ask him. He is the one that brought me into this world of what that monkey paw is. But that's not what this question is about.
Well, I
got you.
I think it's a good question because I feel like all three are very similar in terms of difficulty to do. Going 7-0 is 7 games. So
I'll cancel out the last one, the easiest. That's not the one that I'm asking for. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that would be one of your road wins. So,
I mean, if you were going to win 2, I'd rather it not be that one.
Same here.
Right, but there's also not... You couldn't pick 2 road games this year that I would just be like, well, yeah, we're going to win that. Like, 2 of them specifically that I would just be like, yeah, we're going to win that one.
I do think I'm with you. That's the one that's least important to me, starting 3-0. Because I care far more about Big 12 games. So,
sure.
So I think if I'm picking, I'm picking I would say you are going to be favored in every single home game you play. I feel pretty confident about that. Unless Colorado or West Virginia, have amazing seasons out of nowhere. And West Virginia's wouldn't be completely out of nowhere. Colorado's would. So unless something like that happens, you're going to be favored in every home game. You will not be favored in any of your road games except maybe the Washington State game as of August 7th. Now, if someone falls apart, if Iowa State's bad, TCU might be a favorite if they've fallen apart or if they're just not very good. But it's still, winning away from home is the hardest thing to do in college football. It is, because most of the time you have great crowds on the other side. I would pick the road one. I think guaranteeing me 2 road wins, because I think you got a pretty good shot at going 7-0, would make it feel like you're going to win 9 games this year.
I think if you went 1-4 in road games, I would not be that upset. Tell me which of the home games that you're going to lose that you just wouldn't be furious that you lost it.
Furious? Again, if West Virginia...
You want to lose to Baylor?
If West Virginia's got 8 wins going into that already, I wouldn't feel...
West Virginia probably would be the least. Yeah, you want to lose to Colorado?
No.
Yeah, each of you
give me the 7 home wins. You're right. West Virginia would be the one that bothered me the least. But
I also feel like that's the most likely scenario out of everything is that you're 7-0 at home, which doesn't necessarily make sense because 7 games versus 3 games versus 5 games.
And that's why I'm saying
games,
I would be so incredibly disappointed if you lost any of those games.
I'm curious,
and the difference between some people and me, Choice, I'm not guarantee get me the most happy. I'm make me avoid the most upset.
Yes. And that's where some of this goes.
That's what Choose Joy people do.
Is that what Choose Joy people do?
He's choosing joy.
I don't know that
he's choosing
true,
joy 7 times.
I just think I'm curious. I'm way more into the gambling stuff than you are, just out of fascination.
I bet you are.
Out of fascination. But no, I'm
everybody listening to this radio station.
I'm curious, if Vegas were putting odds on this, what the most likely to happen would be. Because you've got 7 games there that you're dealing with, but so that's like a 7-game parlay versus 2 road wins that you probably only be favored in 1 out of 5 games, or
if you got 2 of those road wins, you'd probably think, oh, they should win all 7 of those home games.
Right.
I get it. I get your monkey paw. I don't know why. I don't understand.
Someone did clarify. It's monkey paw time machine, a la Back to the Future. Old Biff carried a monkey paw handkerchief cane. So that's where it came. That's where it came from.
I got it from Aaron Dickens. You have to ask.
And I do remember the cane that had a monkey paw on it. So I guess that's what monkey paw time machine. I don't know. Still don't know the scenario thing.
To go along with what Choice was talking about, the more likely of the group of this scenario for me is the 7-0 at home.
Maybe it's a 3-0 to start, but yeah. I think it's one of those 2 that's the most likely.
It's the most likely, right. The least likely to happen would be the 2 road games.
Yeah.
Because of how much more difficult your road portion of the season is. And there's just not 2 of them that I look at and go, that's a gimme. So getting 2 of those road wins, I have faith that you're going to take care of business at home. So getting 2 road wins puts you to 9-win season. And I know that 7 is more than 2.
Well, but
the likelihood of winning your 7 is greater than the likelihood of winning your 2.
And I do get Jamie's side too. 7 wins at home, anger of losing certain games. It also would guarantee that you win at least 7 games, which is more than you won last year.
Yep.
You won 6 games last year in the regular season. You would guarantee if you win all your home games, you win 7. So I don't think there is a true right answer with this because it's a good question. I just preference. I'm rolling the dice on this team saying you're going to go 7-0. I think you're going to win 7 games at home. So give me the 2 road wins because I think one of those is probably coming at Washington State, and I'm going to be pretty happy if you win in Ames, and I'm going to be pretty happy if you win in Tucson, or really happy if you win in Stillwater. So
I'd be really happy if you won in
Fort Worth.
No.
And I'm picking Fort Worth as a win already. So.
And again, this doesn't say you can't win more than 2 road games, but to be able to lock in 2 road games, I feel like is a big boost to what you can do in the schedule.
Yeah. This one from the chat line, 7-0 guarantees at least a 2-0 non-con, so that's the best option. Well, 2 wins in non-con. Someone else says, I want 7-0. Another one says, I'd be furious to lose to UNT, and I fear Chuck has cursed the Red Raiders to this fate. That's from Juan. Juan, you're giving Chuck way too much power. He has done no such curses. If anything, that means we're going to win by 50.
It's so funny how much people want to win that game now because they don't want Chuck to be right. Chuck. We can't even allow it to be close.
Jamie,
and we also can't allow Abilene Christian to get anywhere close to 29 points.
In the horrible scenario that Tech does lose to UNT, I'm going to ask that you just give Chuck the next week off. Just don't even put him on the morning. I'll fill in for him every day. That way, no one has to hear Chuck say he's right for a full week.
Okay. Or you could just fill in for me.
I'm helping the people out, not you. It's the morning drive on Double T 97.3.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.